Good morning, everyone. We still patiently wait our free trip out of here. Things are continuing to get bad. As I make this, we have 2 days till the election. The Middle East is still in turmoil. We're getting a bit of a storm coming through here. It's actually going to rain on Wednesday. The wind's kind of preceding it. That's what's going to bring the storm in. Iran apparently is either trying to just act provocative without doing anything, or they are preparing something. They give out a NOTAM, aviation notice to airmen, not to fly over Iran until the 6th. So they've prepared themselves a window so that they could, if they wanted to, attack Israel. If they do, they're done. Israel won't wipe them off the face of the earth, but they will damage their infrastructure. Because on Tuesday, the election, one of two things is going to happen. We've only got 2 candidates, Trump and Kamala. I'm not telling you who to vote for. You know who I would have voted for. I've already voted. But I'm not going to tell you. I don't want to be political here. You've got to make your own choice. If you're not living under a rock, you should know who to vote for. If Trump gets in, he's pro-Israel. If Kamala gets in, she's anti-Semitic. And will cut off everything to them. Israel needs to decide, are they going to act before or after the election? I don't know why they're waiting on us. We're not mentioned in the Bible. Okay, so we're going to get back to our Revelation study. I'm just going to finish up here on some of the destruction. There's more stuff going to happen. I'll cover that in phase 2. I'll take a break, and then I'll come back to teaching. We're going to stop at chapter 8. We just read chapter 6. That has the seals that were on the scroll, the deed to the earth. And Jesus opened those seals, and there's destruction, death, all kinds of stuff. But I want to prove to you that if you were to pull chapter 6 out in its entirety, 7 doesn't really, frankly, need to be there. They're not tied together. 6 is a separate vision. Unfortunately, somebody who put this stuff together put the 7th seal as the first verse of chapter 8, and it doesn't belong there. As a minimum, it should be back in 7. I think it should be in 6, but if it's going to tie together, then it needs to be in 7. Because as soon as the 7th seal is open, then they go to trumpets. They're not related. Trumpets is a separate vision. Satan's good. So anyhow, we're going to look at that and see what this means. But we're going to start in Revelation 7, and we're going to get our introduction to the 144,000. There's so much stuff that's happening once the tribulation starts that you got to pull it from different places. As I've been showing you, a lot of this stuff is Old Testament coming forward and then being summarized here, where John actually is a witness because he got to see these things. The prophets got to see him in the Old Testament, but that's a long time ago. That stuff can't apply today, huh? Yeah, it does. That's why it was refreshed. Okay, Revelation 7:1. And after these things I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor the sea, nor any tree. And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living God. Stamp of approval. And he cried with a loud voice to the 4 angels to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea, saying, hurt not the earth, neither the sea nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our God on their foreheads. The wind's blowing This is nothing. I actually like mild seasonal changes. It gets boring. And I heard the number of them which was sealed, and they were sealed 144,000 of all the tribes of Israel. Now, you can read through here. I'll read the first one, but then you go ahead and read the rest. We're going to skip because it's just 12,000 from each tribe, and there's 12 tribes. 12 times 12 is 144,000. Surely you learned your multiplication tables. 7:5. Of the tribe of Judah were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Reuben, sealed 12,000. Tribe of Gad. Okay, you can read all the way through. There's 144,000. These are Jews. Why is this important? Excuse me. At times like that, I wish I could edit this stuff out, but a sneeze comes on too quickly for me to do anything with. The wind's blowing something and it's making me sneeze. I'm going to stop for a second. Okay, I'm back. I had to sneeze 2 more times. So we have the 12,000 from each tribe being sealed. They're Jews. And the reason for that is we are now in the tribulation time frame. We're in the, and I don't like using that term to cover the whole term, but that's what everybody else does. So I'm just using that. A better way to say this is we're in the final 70th week, 7-year period. Better known as the tribulation, as a lot of people have coined it. But there's no tribulation mentioned about the first half. Okay, so as we get down through that, let's see, we're looking 8, 7, 8. A great multitude from every nation. So they don't have to live in Israel to be sealed. After this I beheld, one time I thought they had to be. After this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude which no man could number, of all nations, kinds, and peoples and tongues, stood before the throne. And before the Lamb, clothed with white robes and palms in their hands. Who are all these people? People from around the world. Where are they? And cried with a loud voice, saying, Salvation to our God, which sitteth on the throne, and unto the Lamb. They've all had salvation. But who are they? And all the angels stood around the throne, and about the elders and the 4 beasts, and fell before the throne on their faces and worshiped God. This is the throne room of God, saying, Amen, blessing and glory and wisdom and thanksgiving and honor, and power and might be unto our God. You can't put enough platitudes in there. Unto our God forever and ever. Amen. And one of the elders answered, saying unto me, What are these which are arrayed in white robes? White robes are given to those new inhabitants of heaven, the ones that were martyred. And whence came they? And I said to him, Sir, thou knowest. Like, why are you asking me the question? You're the one that should know. And he said to me, These are they which came out of the great tribulation. Great tribulation. That's the second half of the 70th week. Because that's where the wrath of God comes out, where the bowl judgments come. It's called the Great Tribulation. So we're talking about in heaven, John's looking in this vision, and he's seeing people there that are martyrs. They've washed their robes and made them white in the blood of the Lamb. I don't know how you use red blood to make white, but God can do whatever he wants. Therefore are they before the throne of God, and serve him day and night in his temple, and he that sitteth on the throne shall dwell among them. They shall hunger no more. This is what we have to look forward to. Neither thirst any more, nor shall the sunlight be on them, nor any heat. For the Lamb which is in the midst of the throne shall feed them, shall lead them into living fountains of water, and God shall wipe away all tears from their eyes. The key to this, in this chapter, tied to the seals, and I'm just going to read the first verse of chapter 8. And when he had opened the seventh seal, there was silence in heaven for about the space of half an hour. A moment of silence. That really belongs back in 7. So 6 and 7 are kind of the vision of the day. And that means that the seals, the vision, goes from the beginning of the tribulation till the end of the tribulation. All those judgments span the width of the tribulation. They don't happen in the first 3 months or 3 years, because these witnesses survived the great tribulation, or were martyred during it, and are in heaven. Because they're Christians, they can't die the second death. So that's why it's important. 6 and 7 in the first verse of 8 all belong together. Now we're going to switch and look at the trumpets. And the thing with the trumpets, they're not back to back. It's not seals, then trumpets, because seals went all the way to the end. They survived the Great Tribulation. It's over, the second half, until whenever God decided he needed to end the destruction. Because like he said, if he didn't stop it, not one person would be alive. So he ends it a little bit short. We don't know how long. But that's a vision. Now we have another vision. And I saw, and this is in verse 2 of chapter 8, and I saw the 7 angels which stood before God, and to them were given 7 trumpets. I don't know if they had to be past trumpet players or not. Trumpets are to announce something big. We have the seals, the trumpets, and the bowls. Those visions are individual visions. Another angel came and stood at the altar, having a golden censer, and there were given unto him much incense, that it should be offered with the prayers of all the saints upon the golden altar. They're bowls of our prayers. This is symbolic. I don't know what they really look like or how they get them around, but basically they take the prayers with the incense, burn them on the altar so that God can sense them. And the smoke of the incense which came with the prayers of the saints ascended up before God out of the angel's hand. And the angel took the censer and filled it with fire of the altar and cast it to the earth. And there were voices and thunderings and lightnings and an earthquake. So God hears all the prayers. Every one. Like I said, there's 3 answers to prayers, but you don't know which one you're going to get. Yes, no, and maybe. Maybe is always in there, because if you really want something bad enough, even if it's not what God wants, oftentimes he'll give it to you because he wants to please us. He loves us. That's what you do with your children. I want a second helping of ice cream. Oh, but it'll make you sick. Oh, but I want a second helping of ice cream. It'll make you sick. But I want a second helping of ice cream. All right, go ahead. Don't come crying to me when you're sick. Of course, when you're sick, I'll help you, but I'm not going to tell you ahead of time. We've done that with our kids. God does the same thing with us. And the 7 angels were back to 8:6. 7 angels which had the 7 trumpets prepared themselves to sound. Get the lips ready. I don't know if you've ever watched a trumpeter in a band prepare. The sound that comes out of any wind instrument comes from air going through us. But the brass have a specific sound. You actually raspberry the trumpet. You know, you get your vibration in your lips. Come on, light, stay with me. You get the vibration going, and that's what goes into the trumpet, and then the trumpet, because it expands, has a deeper and a more solid sound. I played trombone in high school, and I wish I hadn't done that. I was afraid to sing because I was shy. I went to the band, and when I got into the band, they said the only instrument that's left, because your friend came in ahead of you and he got the guitar, all we have left is a trombone. I didn't get there fast enough. I wasn't much of a leader, I was a follower, and if you're a follower, you get what's left. Don't be a follower, be a leader. Okay. The first angel sounded, and there followed hail and fire mingled with blood, and they were cast upon the earth. And a third of the trees were burnt up, and all green grass was burnt up. Major destruction. This will overlap the seals, but probably in the second half. Verse 8. And the second angel sounded, and as it were, a great mountain burning with fire was cast into the sea, and a third part of the sea became blood. Had the appearance of blood. If you're bringing a volcano up out, and it goes into the sea, and it's a big volcano, the lava's red hot when it goes in there, but if there's a lot of iron, it can stay in the water. And a third part of the creatures which were in the sea and had life died, and a third part of the ships were destroyed. This is a fairly major volcanic eruption. And the third angel sounded, and there fell a great star from heaven, burning as it were a lamp. So you see them up in the sky, they look like lamps. And it fell upon a third part of the rivers and upon the fountains of waters, and the name of the star is called Wormwood. Again, this is probably towards the end. There is a asteroid that they believe will come here sometime in the 2030s. But that's the one that they know about. We have asteroids coming at us all the time that they don't know until they get within spitting distance, if you will. Most astronomers and astrophysicists will tell you that there are millions and millions of large destructive asteroids out there flying around that haven't found a home. And if they come from the sun, we can't see them. We see them by their reflective light. If they come from the sun, they're blocking it. Until they get big enough to block enough of it where we notice it, we won't know they're coming. They might be within days or two to 3 days. And that would be all the warning we get. And a third part of the waters became wormwood, poisonous, and many men died of the waters because they were made bitter. And the fourth angel sounded, and the third part of the sun was smitten, and the third part of the moon, and a third part of the stars, so that as a third part of them was darkened, and the day shone not for the third part of it, and the night likewise. The heavens and the earth are both in turmoil here. And I beheld and heard an angel flying through the midst of heaven, saying with a loud voice, Woe, woe to the inhabitants of the earth, by reason of the other voices of the trumpet, of the 3 angels which are yet to sound. I'm going to stop there. This will be continued in 9, but I'm trying to keep my videos about the same length. You can run them back to back if you want more. But I'm trying to stay around 15-20 minutes. There's so much information here. You could easily be overwhelmed. And if you're not overwhelmed, you won't remember a third of it. Now, the parts that I covered up through 5 were the things that we're going to see. After 5, when 6 gets here, all the way through till the end, until basically around 1920, it's not going to be pleasant down here. Now, a lot of this overlaps, so a lot of this is all happening at the same time. The first half will be relatively calm. We have the horsemen. They did a lot of destruction, and the Antichrist is in there. And the Antichrist will begin taking over the world, and eventually the Antichrist will kill the harlot. The harlot system, the monetary system, that's basically controlling what's going on in the world today. He's going to use that. And when he's basically in charge, then he doesn't need it anymore. Any dictator knows that that's what you do. You befriend everybody. And as you get further and further in, you start kicking off the people that you don't need anymore. We're not talking loyalty. Dictators aren't loyal to anyone but themselves. And Satan, perhaps, if they are aware of it. I can't tell you we're out of here shortly. I wish I could. We still have to be ready. As far as we can tell, everything is waiting on us getting out of here. This last little pause is to get the last survivors that will survive through the rapture. Then after that, if you're a Christian, the way you get to God is to be a martyr. The easy way is coming now. After that, I wouldn't want to be down here. They will still save their souls if they're Christians, but they will pay the price physically down here. Don't be a part of that. Accept Christ now. Can't give you a time or a date, but the time and date information that's in the Bible is in Matthew and other couple places. It's talking about the second coming. For the rapture, we have even less. All we know is that we're in the way, and Satan wants to move forward. Till we meet in the clouds, God bless.